Hey guys, what's up? You guys doing alright tonight? So I'd pop on here real quick and give you guys a stream. Yeah, let's kind of threw this one together real quick. I do want to give you guys a little bit of an update on what I've been kind of thinking here with what I'm going to do as far as posting with my edited content and the other. I actually had a really good suggestion from some of you guys. I think what I'm going to do, guys, first off, guys, give me a thumbs up or everything. Make sure everything's fine here. Make sure there ain't no audio or visual or any kind of stream issues here before I get going. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Hey, Isaiah's Granny, how you doing? Good to see you here. Did you get my email? I emailed you back about that. So, just want to, if that happens in here tonight, don't even hesitate, okay? You got that wrench, use it. I'm trusting you. So, in Isaiah's Granny, anybody, yeah, I guess I'll just address that real quick before I get any further. Guys, first thing I want to do is I want to apologize to you guys for, last night with the. I'm not even sure if apologies even. The reason I apologize to you guys is because I try my best to keep the drama out of this place. I really do, and I usually try to promise to not, like even engage like that and bring you guys any of this, right? But I couldn't, hold my tongue last night because of, Teresa was in here and what happened with her, if you guys go back and see it, it wasn't nothing that she did at all. She wasn't even here to see what happened. She had already logged off and, doing her thing. And, she's not feeling well. She's just getting some rest. But, and again, I'm not even going to talk about this again after right now. I was going to wait to see if anybody else wanted to come in here first, but I just want to get this out of the way. From now on, I will not address that on stream. I'm going to, guys, I'm going to trust my mods, which I should. And if any of that ever happens again, I'll see it after stream, and then I'll take care of it, because I don't want to take away from what we're trying to do here. You know what I mean? If somebody is causing issue, we don't, why would we want to give them our time? So I'll take care of that stuff afterwards. If anybody, especially the mods, if you guys, don't hesitate to do what you think is right. And if I don't completely agree, or if I want to give somebody a second chance, or whatever else, we'll talk about that behind the scenes. It doesn't need to have, take up 15, 20 minutes of a live stream. And that's why, that's the only reason I'm apologizing. I'm not apologizing for anything I said, because what I said is what I meant. And I would do that for each and every one of you guys that are in here now. I'm not, and I get that, I've never even researched what they were talking about. Okay? So I couldn't even tell you if I agree with what they were actually saying. It's just the way that they presented it, and then they defended each other over somebody that's in hospice trying to claim there was no time to wait, so I had to put it in the chat. No. You can send an email. I mean, come on. So, yeah, I know, Sharon. Thank you for that. It's just I try to really give everybody, just kind of recognize freedom of speech. I really do. Most people, listen to this. I'm going to say this and I'm going to drop it. Most channels, if you go to them, like especially the stuff that we do here, if they start talking about FE, you guys know what that is, right? Flat. Not globe, but flat, right? They'll boot those people right away. I don't do that, because I think everybody needs to have their voice, and if they're able to put it out there respectfully, I'm good with it, right? So that's why I allow that stuff to be there. Most people will just immediately ban those kinds of comments and stuff. But I don't do that. So when they disrespected one of you guys in such a way, in a person that's got a beautiful heart, I mean, I couldn't not say anything. I could not address it. And what's crazy is the moderators had already taken care of the initial comment in that person that made that. It was the people afterwards that just started, blasting it and just trying to, take up for what. And the thing is, I don't even know if like I said, I don't know if I agree with what they were saying or not. I've not researched any of that. But I'm not going to have my subscribers disrespected like that in our chat and not address it. It's just not going to happen. So from now on, mods, if you guys see any of that kind of stuff, please. That's breaking one of my 3 rules in the chat, right? You can't attack another subscriber, and that's exactly what happened there. In a very passive aggressive way. You can attack somebody in, on the surface would look like you're trying to be kind, but you're really not. They were pushing a narrative about that gold stuff that they were talking about. And again, it might be great stuff. I have no idea. But it is what it is. That stuff could have been handled with an email in the background. When you put that stuff out here on chat, you're looking to get attention to your narrative. You're not looking to try to help somebody. Especially when you continue and continue and continue and continue when the channel owner asks you to quit. So that's why. That's the only reason why. I just want everybody here. I know you guys pretty much already know that. But I did want to address that because that was, it bothered me all night long. It really made me mad. Teresa did not need to see any of that at all. And I'm disappointed in myself for even putting that out there on a live stream like that where she could go back and watch. It's ridiculous. But I will move on from that now. So, that is what it is. Let's see here. See if you guys got anything to say here before I get going. Oh, man. But anyway, guys. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. And I can. Yeah. Yeah. Brian puts in there adults only, but Isaiah Granny has really got this, what I actually, that's what I go by. Yeah, Brian was here. And you're right, Brian. I mean, maybe I should, not even be saying what I'm saying now because people should be able to take it and get over it, right? So that's kind of where I'm at with this, okay? But, I'm not going to bore you guys with that anymore. And again, the only thing that I'm even halfway regretful for is taking the time out of my live stream to even address that kind of stuff. So from now on, like I said, I've been trying to be as lenient as I can with my rules in the chat. Again, you can't attack another creator. I don't care who it is. You can't attack another subscriber or an audience member or a viewer. I don't care. You can't attack each other, okay? And you can't be using a whole bunch of vulgarity. That is it. I'm not taking away anybody's free speech. Okay? All I'm doing is saying, please respect people. That's it. So, from now on, guys, the mods, if you guys are here listening to me, you give them one chance. They do it again, time them out. If they do it again, then kick them. There's nothing else I can do with that. And if it needs to be addressed again, I'll go back through and I'll look at it. If they want to email me and try to explain if it was a misunderstanding, yes, I can forgive and we can move on. So, that's what I mean. So the biggest problem I had with that was it took, with what I did, I took 20, 25 minutes out of our live stream for that stupid stuff. Should have never even had to happen. So from now on, I'm not even going to address it. The mods I have are responsible. They know what they're doing, and I trust them. So guys, please, mods, use it if you need it. They break those rules. This is what it's got to be. So that way we don't have to go down this road again. Oh goodness. But yeah, I was a little on edge there. So anyway, good to see everybody here. Craig, good to see you, buddy. I ain't seen you in a minute. Scott, thanks for being in here, man. I seen you pop in there a second ago. Isaiah Granny, good to see you. Tammy, Brad. So yeah, guys, we are going to get into it right now. Okay, we are having a geomagnetic storm again. We really never stopped. It just bumped out of storm level. And this is going to continue for the next 2 or 3 days. Okay, guys? So I just want to address that. And also, from now on, what I've got a lot of good suggestions on, the live streaming. It was over 3 hours yesterday, and I get it. That was not intentional, but we were all on there doing stuff. I get people don't have time to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the information at the beginning of each one when I do this, and then I'll pop back into the chat and see if anybody has any questions, and we can talk in depth more that way, and interact that way. That way people that don't have really time to sit through all that can see the information and stick around for as long as they want and then bolt, okay? Because I get it. I really do. I really get it. All right. That being said, we're moving on. Okay. Again, we'll start here with the Schumann, even though this isn't really the main thing here. There's not much going on here, okay? There's just not. We're seeing, obviously the normal, what I'm calling now normal, increase in frequency. You can see it. All this stuff really shouldn't be there. This is what should be there, 783. So anything else that's staying consistent right there means a frequency increase that's staying consistent. And it's not going away anymore. So, in my opinion, it's changed. And it is going to continue to change until it finds another good spot that it wants to stay in. Now, this 783 is going to be there anyway, okay? If we're going to have issues, it's when this 783 is going to start missing. If that ever happens, we really are going to have to pay attention to what's going on, because they pump this 783 into places so people don't go crazy. And if some of that stuff's missing every once in a while, what do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean? So that is exactly what would happen. People would go nuts. It would be really, really emotional. It would just be bad. So our bodies are kind of geared for this because that's what we're used to. There's something called space blindness. Did you guys know that? There's some astronauts that experience that. And, when they're in space, some of them have lost it, like over half of their sight. But when they come back to Earth, they regain it. Why is that? I'm under the mindset that this is probably the main driving factor behind that. Even though they put it into those space stations and spaceships, I do think that it's not a natural 783. So, maybe there's a slight difference there. And when they get back to Earth, most of them regain their sight back. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens to the human body when they're out in space for a prolonged period of time. And that's the whole reason for this. So, okay, space weather right here, guys. This is what we're going to talk about for the most part on this live stream. Guys, that thing popped in, that spot we were watching, it popped up, it was a sunspot here. It lost its characteristics there, and then it gained it again. And now it's lost it again. But I was just looking at it a minute ago. It looks pretty healthy. So it may have regained it again also. And that, we see this sometimes with, sunspots. That's what they do. They bounce back and forth. They're variable a lot of the time. And some of them don't make it all the way around, a full rotation 2 or 3 times sometimes around the sun. So when that happens, that's a pretty healthy sunspot when we get that kind of thing. But this is over at spaceweather.com. They're talking about stuff, right here that I was talking to you guys yesterday, the day before, and even the day before that. They were saying on September 28th, what's today right now? It's 2 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time anyway, which makes it about, 6:30 or something like that, UTC. They were predicting a G2 because that's what pretty much everything was saying, and it's exactly what happened so far. But the pink auroras is a little bit of a curveball here, okay? Now remember, we're in that season of the Russell-McPherson effect. Okay, it's around the equinox. So when we're around the equinox, we get cracks in our magnetic field, more so than what's normally there. And so what's happening with the pink auroras? This is charged particles that get closer to the surface. Okay, I think they even talk about that here. It says auroras are usually green, and then it goes on to say they were pink, pinkest of all pinks. This is out of Norway here. Pink is significant. Okay, it means that what's it say here? That particles from space are descending lower than usual in Earth's atmosphere. That's pretty much all we really need to understand there. They go in to tell you the exact height. So you're looking at 100 to 200 kilometers above Earth's surface for, it says, when electrons strike oxygen atoms. Alright? So pink appears when electrons burrow deeper, striking the nitrogen molecules. Okay? So the green ones you see, which are higher up, they're pretty much bouncing off of these oxygen atoms. Alright? So the lower they get, the more nitrogen's there, and that's why you see that. It's a really cool thing. I would love to walk outside my house and look up and see that. Might scare me for a minute if I didn't know what it was, but you know, I think it would be awesome. Let's go down here, and we'll talk about the coronal holes and stuff here in a minute. Here's the near Earth objects list, and right now we're going to have one at a 1.9 lunar distance, which is, you know, basically 2 distances from here to the moon. You know, there's really nothing here saying that we're going to have anything extremely close. Even though they're calling it a near-Earth object, they're going off of the whole vastness of space when they're giving their explanation there. You know, and then you can go over here. This is velocity, how fast it's actually moving. But this right here is really what most people look at. They look at how close it's going to come, and then how big it is. So even down through here, if you go look, the biggest one we see is a 118, which we've seen way bigger. That's not small though, okay? I would probably give an average, I don't know, probably between a 25 and a 40 maybe, something in that kind of a window. If you look down through here, you can kind of see that. I'm not exactly sure what the average there is, but one thing I would say though, more and more guys, they're catching more and more of these objects. If you look right here, and I showed you guys this before, you see all these 2020s? I mean, all down through here. I haven't seen, okay, there's a 2017, a 2018, and a 2019. But up until that point, they all say 2020, and then they return back to say 2020, and a few other miscellaneous dates there. They put that number in front of the name. The reason is, that's when it was discovered. That's the year it was discovered. So the majority of what we've seen this year was discovered this year. What does that mean? That means that our technology's gotten better, and it could mean that we are in a more active area or a more debris area of space. Okay, that's part of the reason we didn't see them. I think it's a little bit of both. That's my opinion. So, okay, so we will go to this one here. I'm going to update that real quick. So as you guys can see, we are in a G2 storm, okay? I'm not sure if we still are or not. Okay, no. We are still in a G1 though, all right? Now remember, we went into storm level 4 times before we got to here. And if you remember what I said, you know, some of that energy is still hanging around, and that's pretty much what allowed this thing to jump up real quick. And it's going to stay sustained right here close to it for a while. So what does the G2 storm mean? Well, I'll show you here in a minute. Here's the ACE data. And again, you can see exactly when it took its uptick. Boom, right there. That's velocity right there. Okay? And then you see the temperature up here going up and down, up and down. You see the density just dropping all the way out to almost nothing. And that would be very consistent with the high velocity solar wind stream. Usually with the higher velocity comes lower density, okay, and vice versa. Basically, if it's moving slower, it allows the particles to build up and get more density, okay. And then when the fast solar wind comes behind it, it'll flush it out. It's called a flushing effect, but we get charged particles that pile up out in front of our planet, in front of our bow shock all the time. That's why we see that big intense arc just in front of our bow shock. That's what happens. So it takes a little bit of extra from the solar wind to get it on out of there. And sometimes it actually gives us a little bit bigger of a hit if it does it fast enough. So up here, BZ, down in the negative, it's jumping all around. And, guys, like I said before, this is really the main marker we really should be looking at for, excessive solar wind. Because when this is in the negative, that means the door's open on the sun for all that stuff to release. And it makes perfect sense when this happens that there's a coronal hole right there, and it's just contributing to a lot of it. So yeah. Okay, Enlil. Now I know this doesn't look like anything, okay, but we have to look at the range here. It's showing us 0 to 20. So about a 5 on the density is about as big as it gets. And this really shows you how these graphs can be misleading a little bit, because if this said 0 to 10, you would have to stretch this out halfway, and it would pull this up here. It would look more like it was in the middle instead of all the way down here. So the main thing to look at first is just see what range we're looking at, right? Now we got 700 here on the velocity, and obviously, and that and that combined over here, they confirm each other. So that's exactly what's going on. Here is the aurora. Let's take a look at this real quick. I haven't actually looked at this yet, so it'll probably bounce around, go down here some. It's definitely going to get closer to mid-latitudes, I would think. Okay, it's not wanting to load. This thing, man, I tell you, it really, ooh, okay. I just wanted to check that real quick. Maybe I ought to X out of some of this stuff. Hold on. Oh, there it goes. So, obviously you can see it kind of, moving around. Remember what I said yesterday, guys. Here's the North Pole. You see how offset the center of that is? Center of it's here. Look at that. You see that big green, big red showed up there? And on the Geoelectric field model I'm going to show you here in a minute, there was some pretty pinpointed energy, and I'll show it to you here in just a second. But I think what was going on there was just because the location of the solar wind was hitting real strong right there. So, but anyway, there's that. Now let's go ahead and we will go over here to this. This is the Geoelectric field model. It shows solar weather's effect on our grid, our electrical grid, and artificial components like transformers, wires, all that stuff, right? Prolonged exposure to the solar wind can have very significant effects on transformers and all that stuff, right? I wonder if you guys seen that. Did you guys see what I was talking about pinpointed? Did you guys catch that? Watch right here. I'm going to grab the slide bar here in a second to show you. It's going to go like this. It's kind of weird. I don't know that I've ever seen it do that on this graph. And again, remember, this graph is about a year and a half old. It's not very old, so it's fairly new. It's a fairly new tool that we get to use. Take it back here. See it right there? Watch it right here. You're going to see, and it's going to go. Now, follow me on this, okay? We're looking at the time here. So we're already in nighttime. This is the United States, and we're on the dark side, right? So we know that little orb looking signature it's giving us is not the sun. It can't be blocking that stuff at all. It's on the other side of the earth. So I would have to go look, but I think that this is probably where the moon is located. And the solar weather is hitting the moon, and the moon's kind of blocking it and just in this one spot. So watch what I mean. You see that? But the only thing that causes me not to think that that's what's going on is the severe U shape it takes here. Typically, like if you look at one of the satellites and the moon goes across like a satellite view, it kind of goes at an angle, kind of like that. And it's not nowhere near that steep. So I don't know what's causing that. It was just strange. It is. It's really strange because everything around it, guys, is pretty intense. This is like showing no charged particles. And if you look, you can see the... Here, I'll just zoom in. See how it steps up? There's like different levels here, really close together. If you're on your cell phone, you probably can't see that. Might now. Here, let's just go all the way in. Why not? Okay, you see that how it's stepping up? This isn't something that's all crazy, freaky, or nothing, but it is something I've not seen before. I don't think it would cause too much of an issue as far as being anything that would be of major concern. But it was just strange that it did that. I mean, it really, it's odd. I wish I knew what that was. Because I bet you they have a pretty good explanation for it. But, so even if I keep going backwards, watch the whole thing. You know, it's going to move anyway. But usually it moves from one side to the other. And it'll keep doing it like that. If anybody Caesar prone, you might not want to look at this. But anyway, yeah. So you see in all that. Let's take it back here and show you that little thing again. I just thought it was odd. So, okay. Now this is the Magnetopause models, and I'm just going to go through and hit play on all these so they can update and get moving. What you're going to notice is you're going to see a lot of pressure and you're going to see a lot of low density, believe it or not, because the wind speed's high. So, you know, I show you guys this quite often. Remember, the sun's off to the left. So when we see these reds, deep dark reds, we're talking up here in this area. So we're looking at 600 now. Did you guys see that? That just happened. Okay? If you look at the timestamp, this gives us a 2-hour time lapse. And right around 5:45 into 6, we get that big blast. Watch. Okay, now I want to point something out here, guys, and I don't know what's actually going on with this, but if you watch this, you're going to see some stuff over here, right? You're going to see dark blues, which means very, very low speed. All right, and then all of a sudden, we like push out before we got hit again. Watch. See that? I mean, we really, that was a pretty good push back there. Okay, we've seen some pretty significant ones before. That was a little on the extreme side. Okay, so we're going along, just staying. You know, we got high speed, but we don't have anything variable, right? You notice this big high speed area right here, which again is telling you that part of this is directional. If this was completely symmetrical, it means it would be coming from the exact same direction, right? So this is either coming at some sort of crazy angle or whatever, but it's still coming from the solar wind, all right, just so you know. Those things can vary a little bit, but that's a pretty good indication. Now, if I watched this whole time lapse and it was all doing that on the bottom the whole time, I wouldn't be so sold that it was coming from the sun. But this is only there for like that a couple times, and it kind of goes back and forth anyway. You know, so when the solar wind, the particles are moving, they could be going in crazy directions sometimes. Okay, you see we're here. Now we immediately start pushing out. Even before this here gets there. Now what's significant here is this is faster than this. At least that's what it looks like. So watch. Now we pushed out really hard, and we're going to look at the other Magnetopause models here in a minute because I haven't had a chance to look at this timestamp yet. I've not seen the Magnetopause on this tool ever do this. Okay? And something that really kind of, and Scott, if you're in here, you might look at this with me real quick because what I'm getting ready to say is kind of nuts. When you see this, look over here, guys. You see how you get this little, well, we'll go down here to the pressure part, and I'll show it, it shows up better here. Okay, you see how you got this looks to be like some sort of a tail? It's part of our Magnetopause, right? And when we got the, basically the Y look out here. Now let's go back up here. You got that there, same kind of thing, kind of a Y out back. Now watch what happens. We push out, and if you stop it right there, what's that look like? It almost looks like it kind of went to the opposite side for a second. And I ain't saying that it did, but it definitely took that kind of signature on. Okay? See that? And then it goes back to normal. Okay? So whatever it did there, it didn't take it but a second to recover. It's still kind of all jacked up in here. But again, we would expect this during higher geomagnetic storms anyway. Now, we're only talking about a G2 right now, guys. When I see stuff like this on this model, I would almost, because this just happened. So the next update we get, I would be really curious to see if it didn't go up even higher than a G2. Because that looked like a pretty decent little smack. So we're going to do the same here with the density, and I'm just going to take you over to that spot because most of it, the rest of it looks kind of the same. But notice how, you know, back here, okay, here's that. Now remember, the white is low density. So why is it white? Well, because it's high speed. It's high speed particles. Okay? So as it gets here, same thing, bam. Okay, that's one heck of a hit from the sun. So now let's go down here and look at the pressure, and I'd be curious to see what this one does here. Now you can see a whole lot of buildup here, right? This is inside our satellite line. It's actually really close to the surface here, if you were to draw a line. But you know, some of this is getting through, guys. I just showed you pink auroras. Some of us getting through. You know, and the more cracks we get, this could cause more cracks. You know, and again, this is something I showed you guys the other day too. You remember when I was showing you how this looked jagged like a saw blade, and it didn't over here? We're getting the same thing again. See how it's kind of smooth up here, but it's jagged down here, kind of from here all the way. I don't know what causes that, but I'd like to know. Oh, wow. Did you guys see that? Watch. This is where we took that big hit. Watch. Ain't that crazy? So when you're looking at this, you're looking again, we're pretty much talking about density and stuff here, right? So when we get hit with that high solar wind, it just takes it all and flushes it out the back. Boom. Okay? And then you can see how we still kept all the pressure around our planet. Now again, when this thing updates again, we maybe will take a look at it before I log off tonight. But I would look for this to turn red again, really quick like. And again, I think what happens here, we just take a big hit. I mean, it almost went down to, you see what I'm talking about? How it almost tried to reverse a little bit there, because this is almost a mirror image. And it started to recover. That's just, I mean, look at that, man. That's just crazy. Crazy, crazy. So, yeah. We'll go back up here and we'll take one more look at the velocity. Look at that, man. Wow. You know, if some of these satellites go into safety mode, it wouldn't surprise me at all. This is something that almost I would expect to see that. So yeah, guys, that was pretty intense. Now let's go look at what the Australians have to say about this. How my Aussies doing out there? Hope you guys are all right. Let's go back one day here. Wait for it to play. This thing's going to be bouncing around, guys. I can already tell you. I haven't looked at it yet. I just booted it up and waited. Remember, it gives us a capture every minute. Now, when we get that big intense one there on the 28th, I'll have to go the next day and show it to you. But if you guys see the proton count here, that is the density. And this is the wind speed up here. You can see that. It even tells you the BZ. Okay, it says negative 0.8 right there. So we're going to go to the 28th. That right there where it bent in like that was when we took that big hit. And see where it pushed back out? You guys see that? That's exactly what happened. This is showing us the same thing. Okay? So we'll play it again. And right around 4 or 5, you're going to see it kind of compress in, and then it pushes way back out. See that? So, yeah. Most definitely. That was actually pretty cool to look at. Anyway. So, what we got here? Well, these are the radiation belts. I'm going to show you guys this real quick. Okay. I kind of put 3 of them here. One at 10, one at 100, and this is the highest one at 4,000. The 10 is the one closest to the surface, so watch. Okay, that is some pretty decent radiation getting down into that. Okay, now we'll go up here and start going higher. You're probably going to see more because the higher up you are, obviously, it doesn't have to pass through as much of our atmosphere and get disrupted. Now this is the highest one up here, and you're not going to see a whole bunch of reds and yellows in this one. This one up there, I probably should have showed you the one right underneath that one because that one there is kind of at the top, and sometimes I've noticed that it doesn't see a whole lot because it's way up. And we're looking at a ball, not a... Okay. So, we'll look at this real quick. Here's that coronal hole, which this is why for the next couple days we still got to be paying attention. Okay? We're still connected to that. So, what's going to happen is that this what we're seeing right now, it may drop down in intensity, but we're going to keep a pretty decent wind stream for the next 2 or 3 days at least. It could go as long as 4 or 5. It just depends on what goes on the other parts of the sun. If you look at this, you can kind of see other ones already starting to, open up. So, yeah. I'm going to show you guys that real quick. Let's do this. I am going to update this because of what we just seen over on the other one. Let's just hit that real quick. Now remember, this is the Magnetopause Model 2, but the sun's off here to the right. So again, I mean, we're seeing quite a bit of activity there. I think that right there, you see that big blowout? I think that's what we've seen on the other tools. See how we're doing that? So again, like I said, this is an older tool, but it doesn't make it irrelevant, okay? There's those out there that think that does make it irrelevant, and I would argue all day long against that. It was good enough to use for however many years, and then all of a sudden it ain't no good. I just don't understand that way of thinking. That's all. But anyway, this is the solar wind. Now, I do think that there's parts of this that have been improved on the other tool. And guys, if you look here, you see the solar wind stream, how fast it is, 847 kilometers per second. Now, if you go look at the other ones, you're not going to see anything that high. And that's what causes me to question on how accurate that actually is on this particular tool. Okay? Because I'm going to show you something here. It's kind of, I'll just show it to you. First off, we got over 1,000 right there, right? I think I've seen one jump up to 1,800. There's 11. Okay, there's an 1883. So, for every 400 kilometers per second, that almost it's pretty close to 1,000,000 miles per hour. So you're looking at something that is, well, you know what? I mean, I guess we could go do a converter real quick. But I'm not going to waste time doing that. But you guys can go do that yourself. They're really simple. They're free on the internet. All you got to do is Google it. Converter, measurement converter. Then you just type in 1,883 kilometers per second and then hit convert to miles per hour, and it'll give you an exact estimate or an exact number there. And again, guys, we're not seeing, we oftentimes see this when we get big solar wind streams, like we're really getting hit pretty hard. Things look fairly normal, but they just look like we're getting hit hard. And that's when we know that we're, seeing something legit. Now, when we start getting these hits and nobody was even talking about it, didn't know it was going to happen, and that, me and Scott did a live stream, 4 or 5 months ago, where this thing just went, balls crazy, man. I mean, it did. And we'd seen it before, all this back here was a big, gigantic mess. I mean, it really looked horrible. But what was strange is we were not having a solar storm at the time. That's what made it so significant, because this thing did something when it wasn't supposed to. And that's why we stopped and looked and tried to figure out what was going on, right? And again, I think, pretty much the conclusion that me and Scott both came up with is that, our objects and stuff out there were causing issues. And it made it here. So here's the sun rotating over here. Just trying to give you guys a look at it here. I'll play them both at the same time. There's not really a whole lot to see, okay, other than, again, I think that has turned into another sunspot. I think it's got the characteristics. Now I'm going to show you guys something here. It's almost like we did have a little bit of an ejection right in here. Maybe. We'll see. I don't think it was much of anything. But do you guys see these loops? See how far they're apart? If you guys are ever watching this thing for yourself, and you see these things, like the brighter elements of it closer to the bottom, they start getting closer to each other, that means that if those things touch, that connection will bust, and it will be a, like, basically it's like a short, but it turns into either a solar flare or a CME or both. So, you know, we've seen that so many times. But that's what you look for when these loops start getting like compressing on themselves. So here's this one, and this one shows us, you know, filaments really, really well. But it doesn't show us the other gases, so, you know, we don't get a full picture on any of these that we look at. That's why we have to look at all of them. You can do a composite look, but sometimes it gets so muddied out you don't really get to see much of anything. It just looks like a big haze. So yeah, there's not a whole lot going on with this, other than, again guys, coronal holes. I mean, that's what we're talking about right now anyway with this solar wind stream. Now, again, it doesn't mean we can't have a flare, because we did. If I can show it to you. Right here. And right here. Okay. So that would be 3, 6. Yeah, see, listen guys, that other big hit we took was right after this thing posted. So these are 3-hour increments, if you guys were wondering that. You know, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, right? So this stopped at 6 o'clock, and right after 6 o'clock is when we took that big hit. So it'd be interesting to see, but we won't be able to see it till 9 o'clock UTC, which is about, what, 5:30, something like that. It's around that area. Okay. Got you over here at Seeds, and this is something I was noticing. You know, Stereo A did this for 2 days in a row. So I'll go back. What day is this? 27th. Okay. Go to the 28th. This is the most updated pic. Now you see it doing this on 2 separate days. So, you know, it could be getting a big blast of light. It could be getting, you know, charged particles. We see this quite often, believe it or not. Essentially, when we see that, the root of it is just excess light or excess energy or charged particles. It's all this. It just causes the camera to mess up a little bit. That's pretty much what that is. Because then outside and around that, you don't see any other kind of anomalies, so there's not really a whole lot we can do with that. Okay. Here's the earthquakes, and I know that this is probably one of the biggest things that we need to be looking at. One thing I do want to point out, after I got off stream yesterday, down here off the coast of Africa, South Africa, there was a 6.1. Actually, that was yesterday. I meant to say I didn't report it yesterday. So I wanted to point that out right there. So, let me get these other ones. And what I want to say, guys, it looks like we're getting an uptick in like the mid-range size quakes. So, we had one pop off in Hawaii just a few hours ago. We had one here in Cali. So yeah, there's been, and this is the last week. This is a 7-day plot. So yeah, I guess I could take you over here and let's do this real quick. So I want to show you guys again, just because we got people in here that may not know. A G level 2 geomagnetic storm, this is what we should expect to see. Okay? High latitude power systems may experience voltage alarms, which means that they start getting alarms at their substations and all that kind of stuff, right? Sometimes they got to go out and right here it says long duration storms, which is exactly what we're experiencing right now. Okay? May cause transformer damage at high latitudes. Corrective action may be required for spacecraft orientation. Okay. In other words, they may have to mess with the navigation part of like a satellite or something. That's a G5. I didn't want to go to that. All right, G3. I do think we got a possibility of getting here, guys. Okay. You know, we've already been to G2, so you know, hopefully we don't get into this one as high. Again, would it be catastrophic? No. But would it be something we may be a little bit, I guess, I don't know, annoyed by? That's pretty much what it would be. It wouldn't be something like, oh my gosh, you know, half the world's down or anything like that. But this only happens 200 times in an 11-year cycle. So keep that in mind. Now I know most people think that's probably a big number. You stretch that over 11 years, it's really not that often. Now the G1 and the G2, those are. You know, it happens a lot. Corrective actions may be required for spacecraft orientation. Again, same thing with all the G2 stuff, plus a couple extra things here, right? Low frequency radio navigation problems may occur. So, you know, trying to communicate with low frequency, you could have an issue. So, yeah. Trying to figure out if I had anything else set up here to show you. Let's update this again real quick. See what we get. Oh, that got intense pretty good right there. Wow, a couple times. Ooh, another one. Did you guys see that? That happened again, guys. You guys see that? Watch. Watch in here. It's going to do that little loop-de-loop thing I showed you a minute ago. First off, look, it got over 100 millivolts. See that? Look. That was more of a south to north. Straight vertical. Wow. So yeah, that's kind of strange. Okay. Okay. So, I got you guys back up here. we were looking at the geoelectric field, weren't we? Okay. I need to pin that chat real quick. Hold on a minute. Okay. So, that's just kind of nuts there, huh? But yeah, how long did it take me to go through that? Man, it took me a little bit, but yeah, guys, that'll get lower too for anybody that's here for information. I'm gonna try to get all that. I just had a lot to show you guys, and I did probably elaborate more than what I will every day until the end of the video. I just wanted to, hey Christine, how you doing? Get through that for people that are just here for the information. I do get that, guys. I really do. I know I say that a lot, but I want people to understand that. Like I said, the other option is I could just cut this up and repost, but I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I'll probably just do what I'm doing here. And if I go back to, and if I do do a different video, it's going to be an edited one that I'll probably just redo it. So, unless this works out. And if I can get this down to 25 minutes right at the beginning, that's where I'll leave it. Okay? And then we can talk after that. We'll stay on stream, but you know, guys, usually, you know, what will happen though, guys, if I do that, the channel growth as far as viewers will probably slow down a little bit because, and I really don't want that to happen because I really feel like, you know, we're kind of catching a groove here and people are starting to, you know, come in here and they're seeing what we're doing. And that's what I like, you know. And again, only reason why I even looked at that number or look at those numbers, I don't monetize. So I'm just looking at it to make sure that people are getting what I'm saying and they're liking what's going on here. So that's it, right? So anyway, hey Renee, how you doing? Just seen that. Let's you guys got any questions? Anything like that? And we'll go back to space weather here in just a second. Thanks, Tammy. Appreciate that. Teresa, how you feeling today? Feeling okay? Ricky, good to see you. Lance, Craig's still here. Smeagol, how tall are you? Oh, I don't know if you're talking to me or not. Lot with meteors? Yeah. I've seen quite a bit of stuff today, guys. I mean, it hasn't been like extreme or anything, but yeah. You're talking to me? How tall am I? I'm almost 6 foot tall, about 5'11". I kind of shrunk an inch when I had my neck and back surgeries. They kind of, Lance, I haven't slept well for 2 years, almost 3. So you're probably asking the wrong person on that one, for me anyway. Everybody else can give him an answer there. But yeah. Insomnia is bad. Yeah. How you doing, Callie, too? Good to see you. Sharon, what's up? So has anybody got any questions or anything? Anything you guys want me to show you again? Go over it. Hey, Kenley, how are you? Incredible. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh, Rooster, that'd be cool. And also meteor shower, huh? Yeah, I've seen quite a few of them myself. I used to, you know, when I was a kid, I had a pretty decent sized telescope. Now I was just a backyard type of thing, you know. I didn't do any kind of like tracking or, you know, setting anything up to follow any kind of objects. Oh, you want to see the CME tracker? You know what? We can check that out. That's a good good thinking there, Colby. We will check that out. Where'd it go? Nope. Turn black? Wow. I've not heard that before, Bicycle. Yeah, the CME, this is the one that happened. Well, it was on the 21st. Actually, I think it was a little bit before. You know, I showed you guys this. And yeah, since the last time I showed you, this thing has not. Thanks, Sharon. Appreciate that. Yeah, I do want to, like I said, guys, I am going to try to get that first part of the video down to like a half hour. And then, you guys, anybody wants to stick around after that, I'll stick around with you. And we can, you know, try to answer any questions and all that kind of stuff. See what's going on. Carolyn, how are you? Oh, you want to check the power outages? We can do that too real quick. Let me X out of some of this stuff real quick, though, because it'll start causing everything to lag on me. All right. So, here's the power outage map, and I think it's just in, well, oh, that's new. Are we having weather down here? Does anybody know? Like, is there any tropical storms? I haven't even looked at that today. I should have been paying attention to that. I usually do, guys. I just, tomorrow, well, actually today is my son's birthday. We kind of celebrated it last night. Are there storms down there, Craig? Okay. That makes sense then. New fires, huh? Wow. Yeah, guys. High winds. Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Smeagol. Appreciate that. Awesome. Hope I'm saying you're talking about Smeagol, right? From it says Gollum there. You're talking about Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's a cool movie. Smeagol, not Gollum. That's cool. What's up, Isaiah's Granny? Did any of the other mods stick around, or did they have to go? Just curious. I know I'm kind of quiet here, guys. I just, yeah. Rip's here. All right. Hey, Rip, Christine. Yeah, I'm Ricky. I talked to Christine and Ricky there. Oh, you don't know Christine? Yeah, Rip's in here. How you doing, Rip? Scott was in here a minute ago. Well, a little while ago. I haven't had a chance to talk to him today. He's extremely busy right now, guys. Yeah. And I know that it bugs him. He can't be on here doing what we're doing all the time right now. I feel bad for him in that instance, but I feel good for him in the sense that he's busy and he's able to, do good by him and Claudia and, making sure things are good in their lives. So, thanks, Glorify. I really appreciate that. So yeah, Smeagol. Hey, we got a Gollum and a Smeagol in here. So we got two Smeagols actually. We got a Smeagol, not Gollum, and a Smeagol. That's awesome. Love it. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay today. Having some. I haven't told you guys, and really don't want. Yeah. Yeah, I seen that, Kim. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna take a look at that and see what we got on that, but no, I don't think we have Gollum. We got two Smeagol's in here. Yeah, guys. I fought my health for, you guys know this, for about 15 years. It's been pretty much a struggle for a while. And believe it or not, guys, it started with a stupid softball injury to my leg. I ended up getting cellulitis, almost lost my leg, almost lost my life. The antibiotics quit working. I was on vancomycin, and back then that was the last ditch effort to keep somebody alive without having to cut their leg off. And so it ended up, they gave me that, and then they actually sent me home, and I was doing infusions myself. They, here at home, they would send me antibiotics, and I think the vancomycin I had to keep in the refrigerator. And they got this really cool stuff now, though, guys. Whatever antibiotic you're using, if you're doing it at home, they have these balls. They put the antibiotic in these big, they're like tubing. That's the material they use to make the ball. And they got the tube, and you put it into you attach it to your IV, and you don't have to have an IV pole. It'll actually go in just from the vacuum of the pull from that ball as it's compressing. It's pretty cool stuff. It made my life a lot easier, than having to walk around the house with a stupid IV pole attached to me. But, that is what it is, You're welcome, Fog. I appreciate that. Yeah, I lost about 2 weeks of my life there, Ricky, and when I was in there. I had a temperature of 104 for 8 days. I remember none of that. I take that back. I remember one part of it. And the only reason why is because I lost my cool and went off on somebody. I'm a hard stick. I have been my whole life. So, it takes a lot to get an IV. They can usually get blood pretty easy, but that's a whole different ballgame than trying to put an IV in. And I usually end up with a PICC line if I'm in the hospital for any length of time. I've had 17 PICC lines, if that puts it in perspective. If anybody don't know what that is a central line, essentially, and they go in through your arm, your upper arm, and they place it right above your heart. Or they now do that bedside instead of taking you down to procedure rooms. But anyway, yeah, I went off on, they were trying to, my IV went bad, and they were trying to start my IV again. This is before they were doing PICC lines a lot. And I was shaking. I mean, bad. I was, obviously I had 104 fever, and I was going through chills, And they're trying to stick me on the side of my bed while I'm doing this. And man, this nurse comes in here, and it was the floor nurse to beat all this. You know what she says to me? She legitimately said, I don't care how you feel. We need to get this IV started. And I about lost it. I just looked at her and I said, 90% of your job is to make sure that I feel right and feel good. You should be concerned with that. And I was just asking for a minute to get my stuff together. That's all I was. I was trying to quit shaking. And by the time that conversation was done, a bunch of screaming and yelling, she was no longer allowed in my room. And she was the floor nurse, in charge of the floor. It was really crazy, Yeah, I had MRSA. Yeah, I did. That was that's quite a long time ago, but I've had MRSA 3 or 4 different times now. Like I said, that was the start of it. And it just snowballed. And man, I ended up, well, you guys probably don't want to hear this, but I had cellulitis in on my cheek. Then I ended up with it on my arm. And I can't believe I'm telling you guys this, but I had it in one of my testicles. But, that is what it is. Everything healed up. So I didn't, lose anything. Oh, my gosh. Anyway, I told you guys that, but, That's how I am, man. I don't leave nothing unsaid when I get comfortable. But yeah, I tell you, I fought kidney stones since I was 12. And that feels like you're getting kicked in your testicles for days at a time. It really was. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know everybody else has had medical issues too, and that's why I try not to talk about it as much. I still have, like I said, guys, I'm dealing with stuff now. Both of my leg, I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna have to go to the doctor either tomorrow or the next day. Been trying to stay away from the doctor's offices because of all this stuff going on. I actually haven't been. I went to see a surgeon and that was it. But yeah, my extremities, even my hands, my feet, my legs, about a week ago, all of it started retaining water, and now I'm retaining so much water that I can't even get my shoes on. It's bad, and it doesn't feel very good. Is what it is. I mean, so I've been trying to use compression stockings and all that kind of stuff, which they're in case anybody's never seen a compression stocking, They are the most sexiest thing you could ever look at. No, I'm just joking. They're not. Yeah, I know, Ricky. That's something. I know. That's just something. That's why I'm not gonna wait. It's bad. It ain't in just my feet either. It's actually my legs too, all the way up and down my arms and my hands. So that is what it is. Yeah, Ricky. Yeah, I know, Trinity. That's something that I was thinking about too. There's a whole, we're all internet doctors, right? That's probably one of the worst things we can do most of the time. Is as soon as you start feeling bad, we all hit the internet, right? Try to diagnose ourselves. But it is what it is. We all want to know what's going on. But the first 5 most common causes of what I'm talking about right now were like really, really bad stuff, like cirrhosis of your liver, congestive heart failure. And Trinity was talking about the lymph nodes, lymphedema. That exactly was one of the ones that was one of the things that could be causing it. That's one of the top 5 things. I actually have Lasix in my cabinet, and I went to go get it yesterday, and I thought, well, I'll try to take a couple Lasix and see if it helps me get rid of that water. Yes, Indigo, I do. I drink a lot of water. I try to. But I went to go get some of that Lasix, and it'd been in my cabinet for over 10 years. So I wasn't going to try to take any of that, if you know what I mean. I don't know if it could have done anything bad, but I just don't know if it would have worked very well. Like I said, that's what it is, I don't know. I try not to dwell on those kinds of things. My wife is, I'm trying to concentrate on her right now. She's been having some issues with throwing up and nausea, so she went to the doctor and everything. They did some testing, and she's got massive gallstones. So she's going to have her gallbladder taken out, I think. I got to see the surgeon, I think, this week. My gallbladder's already out because when I had my bariatric surgery, I couldn't eat anything. No, I couldn't even drink water. It all came back up. So they ended up taking my gallbladder out and it fixed it. But yeah, Christine, sorry. Guys, I'm sorry if that was over the line. I probably shouldn't have said that, but yeah, Epsom salts, I've tried that quite a few times actually. Yeah, I try not to do the salt thing, guys. I had high blood pressure for a good chunk of my life because of my weight. I used to weigh like over 500 pounds, and I had that bariatric surgery and lost over 200 of it. So, that's where I'm at now. But I do think that, matter of fact, I know I got malnourished, and I think it really messed with me a little bit, and I'm still having effects from that. So I currently still take Suboxone. In case you guys don't know what that is a withdrawal medication because I was addicted to the pills, the opiate pills I was on for my neck and back. And Suboxone is an opiate itself. Most people don't know that. It just has different characteristics, and it doesn't. I've never gotten like high off of it or anything, but I'm on it just so I don't go through the withdrawal. I don't know that I can handle. Yeah, buprenorphine, Sig. Yeah, 3-day half-life. You know what I'm talking about there, don't you, Sig? Anybody that's on it knows that drug has a 3-day half-life, and I'm telling you guys, I tried it. Yeah, Subutex, same thing, except it doesn't have the naloxone in it. I tried to come off of it, and I lasted 8 days. There is nobody can give you a set date when your withdrawals will stop, and it gets extended out because of that 3-day half-life. So you're looking at probably at least 30 days of intense withdrawal. I lasted about 8 days, and went back to got the Suboxone again, but I didn't do it right. That was my fault, you know. I didn't titrate all the way down like I should have. And you know, when it first came out, they weren't even going to use it for maintenance. They were just going to use it for detoxing. But wow, Craig, that's a lot of oxy. Yeah, I was taking the Norco, and I was on Norco 10s, which is the strongest Norco they got. But I was prescribed 6 a day. But I never even abused it till the last 3 months. It was pretty innocent the way I got into it anyway, but it's still my own fault. I take full responsibility for all that. But I went from taking 6 of those a day to 60 a day in 3 months. I was swallowing 200 milligrams of that stuff at a time, which is 20 pills. And what was ridiculous about that is nobody even knew it. I was completely functioning. Matter of fact, I was a higher functioning person than what I am now. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it is the truth. You know, like I said, nobody even knew it. And that was the biggest problem. If somebody would have recognized it well before that, I probably wouldn't have been in such a big issue. But nowadays, I feel sorry for anybody that has to come up on some pain, because even if you've never had an addiction problem, good luck getting pain medication, because they will not give it to people hardly ever anymore. They'll give you one script and then send you to a specialist. You're an addict, Craig? Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, guys. I mean, it'll get you, man. There's really nothing you can do once you're there either. And most of the time, people that do get addicted don't even know it until it's too late. And that was me. You know, I knew I was dependent, but I didn't know that I was fully addicted mentally even. So, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You know, we are. You know, you said it right there, Tiffany. All of us are addicted to something. I know people don't want to believe or buy into that, but it is the truth. You know, the biggest thing I tell people, if they really want to test that out a little bit, all they have to do is quit drinking pop for 3 or 4 days. See what happens. Get rid of that caffeine. Guaranteed, people that drink caffeine every day, if they quit drinking it, they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, my father-in-law couldn't understand how I could have been, you know, like that. And then that's when I told him, you know, you're addicted too, and he didn't really like that too much. So I challenged him, and he took my challenge up, and guess what? He came back to me 3 days later saying, you were right. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't do any of that stuff as far as, you know, sniffing it or anything like that. That's not something I've ever, you know, like I said, I never abused my drug till like three months before I went and got help. And that doesn't make me better than anybody else. I'm just saying that was just my experience. Because at the end of the day, it was still me. I did that. Nobody else. It was me. And, yeah. And I'm glad I've never gotten high off Suboxone, because I definitely, if I had felt good on it, I would definitely, like, you know, try to feel that again. And I don't want to feel that. Because if I feel that kind of a thing, I'm going to want to go do it again. So I don't want that. You know, some people go into rehab or even outpatient rehab for the right reasons, and some go into it for the wrong. A lot of people are there so they don't go to jail. A lot of people are there just to keep their family happy. At the end of the day, you got to do it for yourself. If you don't, you ain't going to succeed. I'm on tablets. Yeah. My insurance charges double for the stupid strips. Yeah, my tablets are sublingual too. But So yeah, I know that's a whole lot of information about my personal life you guys probably didn't care to hear, but um, the thing of it is, guys, I never even smoked weed in high school. I just had no desire to do that. And I never would have been on the pain medication if it hadn't been for my back. They made you go through those steps before they did surgery back then. And, you had to get on pain medication. You had to go get a series of 3 shots. If none of that stuff worked, then they'll do the surgery on you. So, I've titrated down quite a bit. So, yeah, I was, Sig, you said you're going to tell your story over on Mark's channel? Yeah, I mentioned it to him that I would do the same if he wanted me to. That was something that I think people could benefit from. I really do. I've had, the stuff that I've told you isn't my whole story. It's a good chunk of it, but there is things there that, I know I could help people. I really do. Just by going off of what my story is, just to let them know that they're not alone in how they feel, Sometimes that's enough to keep somebody going. And when it comes to the addiction, when you're trying to come off of something, sometimes you got to break it down to, seriously, to break it down to this level. You got to break it down to, can I make it the next minute? Not even lying. If you can make it that next minute, you start building that confidence up that you can still push it away. And eventually, those minutes turn into hours, hours turn into days. You guys know how it goes. But sometimes it has to start that small. Yeah, thank you, Colby. I really appreciate that. Anybody else in here struggling? Well, thanks, Craig. Or anybody out there, if you're talking to me, I appreciate that, man. I really do. And again, you got to do it for yourself, but it takes support. I'm not kidding. If it wasn't for my wife, oh my gosh. Yeah, back at you, man. I just, and that's the thing, guys. Like, Becca, you just said you got 2 herniated discs. Yeah, I mean, I know that sucks with no pain medication, but it sounds like you're a lot smarter than me, because, yeah. If you can make it through to your surgery, without getting on that stuff, let me say this too, okay? There's nothing wrong with taking some pain medication, like 1 script full, okay? But after that, you gotta just push it away. And what happens is people start taking it. They notice that it makes them not hurt anymore at first, right? So they start doing more, and then they end up injuring themselves more. So they have to take more pain medication, and then eventually you get addicted. You start liking it. And even if you didn't like it, you still have to have it because you would go through withdrawal at that point. If you're on any kind of opiate for longer than... Some people are addicted in 3 or 4 days. Okay? So, and what I would say about going through surgery, and this is what I tell my surgeons now when I have to go through that stuff, you give me enough to get me through 3 days, and don't give me 1 pill more. If I drag my idiot butt up in here and ask you for more, you tell me no. I tell them that prior to surgery. Because I don't want... I'm not stupid enough to think that I won't fall back into that for a minute. Because it is a temptation when that happens. And with me being on the Suboxone, the buprenorphine, I have to, if I have any kind of surgeries, especially major ones, I have to come off my medication for 3 days prior to, because of the medicines that they use to put you out won't work as well. And even if they're working, they can actually put you into withdrawal if you do that. So, it would be nothing worse waking up from a major surgery, dealing with that pain, and then having to deal with a withdrawal at the same time. Oh my gosh. I couldn't imagine. Since I say people up here, people are shooting. Yeah, it's just yeah, it's a bad deal, guys. It really is. All right, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this. You guys want to see anything else before I get off here as far as space weather and stuff go? I guess we could look at that again real quick. Let's do that. Let's look at this. Oh, wow. This thing's still getting smacked on. Wow. I want to see if it does another big hit. There's the big one there that we seen. Oh wow, it did it twice. See, we didn't see it before because it hadn't updated. Wow. Oh, look at that. Man, what's the pressure look like? Yep. See how I told you how the front would come back, guys? It came almost back all the way. Let's just grab this and do this. That's the big hit we seen a minute ago, a little while ago. And then it starts to regenerate, see? See how it's... So yeah. Alright guys, I am going to get off here, guys. I'm kind of tired, so I really hope you guys have a good week. And yeah, guys, and again, guys, I'm going to start doing my videos as far as my typical space content. The first 30 minutes or so, I'm hoping to keep all that the main part of the informational part there, and then I'll, if you guys want me to stick around afterwards and do what we're doing now, I'm good with that, So, Rip, Becca, Isaiah's Granny, Christine, if you're still in here, Teresa, good to see you, Craig, everybody, guys. If I missed anybody, I apologize. Thank you, mods, for holding down the chat for me. Looks like it was pretty calm in there tonight, so hopefully that will carry on through, and you guys have a great week, and I'll be able to see you guys, talk to you guys tomorrow probably. So yeah, you guys have a great week, and yeah, God bless, Yahuwah saves, and